Yo, so the opinions and views expressed in this podcast are that of our own and the future Bachelor podcast only, and not affiliated with any outside party or entity or anything like that. This fun podcast, though, may include some adult language.
Future Bachelor podcast.
But yo, I'm gonna put Franklin down because we have some serious stuff to talk about.
Oh boy.
Oh man, you know what we do on this show, right?
Unfortunately.
It's that time to talk about Bachelor stuff on our show! Yes, it's Bachelor time, but YouTube, why don't you go ahead and subscribe, smash that thumbs up button, and hit that notification bell so you can get notified every time we drop new Bachelor content just like this. And if you just did, shout out to you. Ooh-wee! Air horns for you. V. This was big week.
A long ass week.
It was a long ass week of I don't know what to say.
Just honestly, it was explosive, is what I said in our little intro. It was emotionally taxing.
Yes.
Of a week of these episodes. I will be completely honest.
Yeah, it was a lot to catch up on. We had night 1 with Women Tell All, and then night 2 with the Fantasy Suites. Let's begin with the Women Tell All. We're just going to kind of have to breeze through it. I didn't even write notes for this because I just was like, it's too much
I think we would be taking up too much time if we try to go based off of note by note. But let's get into the Women Tell All, because in general, much like the limo episodes, I think I've said this in past podcast episodes, Women Tell All, Men Tell All is a kind of another throwaway episode for me, because I feel like we never really get to know all. I feel like we could have even seen that in this episode. Some major points that of contention over the season were not cleared up or whatever. So
I see it as nowadays is just a place where the girls that were on the show that had a lot to say come back and have even more fuel for their fire.
Trying to get to paradise.
Yeah.
Almost paradise.
I was not too impressed with the women in this episode.
I was not impressed with literally any of them.
Yeah.
Any of them. None of them did well.
But I'm gonna let you kind of cue us through this. Where do we start with this chaos?
So, of course they run through everybody. I totally forgot about this girl, Claire, who was on that first night was saying, F Clayton, he's the worst, I don't like him, whatever.
I'm surprised
totally
they even brought her back.
About her.
Yeah.
Totally forgot about her. They bring her up, show her stuff briefly. I almost forgot about Cassidy. Cassidy was the OG villain. Even Hillary Duff thought Cassidy was a bad gal. That's how you know.
Yeah.
And she gets roasted a bit, and she tries to spin it as being you guys are slut shaming me because I had a fuck buddy, and they're all no, we don't care who you're fucking. We don't care if you have sex all the time.
Yeah. It
was the fact that you were promoting it as don't worry, I'll have somebody to go back to. I'm making plans to go back to somebody.
Exactly. And I also, I wanted to be on her side, but later on in the show, she turns on Shanae, and I didn't like that. Just because it just seemed I get it. They hate you, but just because
I don't think what she did later on to Shanae was turning on Shanae. It was more of her being all learn from my mistakes. I fucked up in this way. And you didn't learn from that.
Well, we'll get there when we get there. But yeah, so they go through her. They're coming at her pretty strong. At this point, it's just really you got it's every season really that you got 3 or 4 people that, and then the couple that you just don't even know that we're on the show have a lot to say. They got a couple hot seats. Obviously Shanae is the big.
Shanae gets one of the longest hot seats. So
and she didn't really say much, actually.
She didn't say much. She didn't fess up to anything. She didn't apologize to anything, which pissed off a lot of the girls. She, The whole thing that entire time, I didn't like how the girls made fun of how she looked. I thought that was a low blow. Why would you do that? It was really
What did she look like?
They were all
hot?
saying they're look, her ass looks like a diaper, whatever. I'm that's so, that's such a low blow.
Her ass looks like a diaper? She's beautiful.
It just felt so dumb. The whole episode made me really angry just because I'm it's Women's History Month, ladies. Could we not? Everybody was just calling everybody bitches. Everybody was calling everybody liars. Everybody was saying that everybody was gaslighting, and like they brought Genevieve up with Shanae to try to talk out the whole 2-on-1 date, which then that turned into Shanae bringing up how, Genevieve might have not. Genevieve denies it, that hooked up with Aaron Clancy from Katie's season when she got home. Meanwhile, Shanae was all like, and I was like unable to eat whatever. And I'm like, okay, do how you do. Genevieve did what she did. Maybe or maybe she didn't. And Shanae, you felt your kind of way too. I think you both are doing fine.
But so Shanae was kind of getting put through the ringer. All the girls were going in. She didn't really get much words in. It's not much. She didn't say much more than what she had already said on the show about everything, really. But what I did notice is the girls that were not the mean girls during the season seemed a little meaner. Now.
I mean, I just thought everybody in general seemed mean, except for Teddy, Serene, and I think Eliza and Marlena. I felt like they, honestly, all the black women, most of them except for Sierra. Sierra made it a point this entire episode to be the spokesperson for everybody. You could see her mid when other people were trying to say stuff, she would kind of rail them, be like, no, I'll do it, and do it herself. And I was kind of like, yo, that's I'm like, that's all she's got. Sierra is just the little mouthpiece, I guess. That's all she had. But I just felt like everybody was just mean to be mean. Everybody was heightened. And my thing, the entire time I was thinking, I was like, these girls are really this combative over someone like Clayton? Which I'm like, really? Which they all do find the common enemy at the end when Clayton comes out. But it definitely, they touched briefly on the Elizabeth stuff, with Shanae, which I think was for the best because I think that had been handled on air poorly. But I think, that just chalked up to kind of seeming like a miscommunication of expectations of friendship. I think, maybe Shanae thought they were closer than they were. And Elizabeth was like, I did not think we were that close. And I think it just seemed to be kind of some insecurities from both parties of what their interactions were and what they meant. Yeah. I mean,
to me, just from my perspective, it just looks like, Shanae was a little bit more combative than she thought she was, and then Elizabeth was actually a little bit more probably standoffish to her than she thought she was. And or neither, but but that was just the perspective from each of them. I feel like, and both of them, will say that they're not being one way or not, but we have to kind of be the judge of it as the viewers. But I will say about Elizabeth, she just seemed a little bit more mean, on this.
I didn't think she seemed that much more mean or anything. I think I felt like she barely talked, honestly. She said her stuff. I think rightfully so.
Did you hear about the rumors of her going out with a sign about Shanae and stuff?
I didn't. Was that her? I thought that was I think that was actually Genevieve. I don't think that was her. I think Genevieve had written something, or somebody else had. I think it was Genevieve who had been then.
I think it was all of them out together with partying and stuff with this sign. But we already know the mindset. Everybody hates Shanae, and it just seemed
they really were so rude about it. They're go rot in Ohio, go do whatever. All this stuff. It was just it just really, to me, that's why I hate Women's Tell All, because it's truly let's pit women against each other, which I just think is really disgusting, especially the day before International Women's Day.
Well, why can't, let me ask you this. Why can't the women see that? Why can I see someone like Teddy sitting there, controlling herself, even if she has thoughts about stuff, she's just being quiet, side-eyeing everyone that just seems to have to get their 2 cents off for, that we won't care about them in the future. A lot of these people are going to go to paradise and get their heart broken, probably. And so it's it's all just really sad to watch. And honestly, Teddy just being there, sitting there, is going to probably go to paradise and be one of the top pick people. One of the people that'll probably make.
She'll be kind of a Serena, from.
Yeah, dude, are you serious? And so, I mean, it just was really weird to me to see people who is the one popping off a lot? not Serene. Who was the girl that was like the leader of them? You said
Like Sierra.
Sierra. She's going to probably, get on Paradise, but like she's not going to change. She's just going to be like a drama starter, and that's what they'll pick her for. So,
right.
What else happened on this Women Tell All that like matters?
Sarah got the hot seat. It seems like everybody was confused on what were lies, what weren't with her situation with Clayton, and it seemed like they're all like, I guess we'll ask Clayton. Teddy and Serene got hot seats. Both of their hot seats were very emotional. Teddy seemed more like she was heartbroken. And like, it was framed in the idea of like, oh, is there a first impression rose curse kind of deal? Where Serene seemed like she was fine. Serene was like, I'm good to go. Teddy did admit that, I guess, one of Clayton's brothers DM'd her after she got off. So
I mean, what is that like? I don't understand. Like, it's like, yeah, I know my brother was an idiot to let you go, but what about
I know,
me?
and she's like, I think I've had enough of the Eckerd men for a lifetime. And I was like, damn.
Right. I mean, he picked the wrong one. If that was, I mean, the right one, but he picked the wrong one to slide probably in there and thinking he was gonna come out on top. But yeah, so we get down to all this stuff. We have like Genevieve going off, talking about her 2-on-1 with Shanae.
Yeah, we already talked about that.
Yeah. And then I'm just bringing this all up because this is when Clayton will come out and essentially try to deflect on him to bring it back to Shanae.
Yeah, Clayton pretty much says that he has no regrets, and all of the women are like, how did you not see multiple different situations? Shanae, whatever. They're all like, bro, what is wrong with you? And then Sarah's even like, you stirred the pot when it came to my situation more than anybody did, like this or that. Like everyone's like, yo, we talked to you about these different things and you're out here just not listening. Yeah. Not doing anything about it.
He was so scared walking out. It was hilarious. Like he was just like most scared I've ever seen. Like,
oh yeah, he looked freaked out for sure.
So I do have to say that I at the end, like towards like now that we're at the end of it, I think Jesse Palmer makes a great host.
I thought he was a good host.
Yeah, like he holds it down like Chris, but like at the same time, like he was like there for the shits. You know what I'm saying? Like he was like laughing at the whole thing sometimes. Like Chris would have like a more serious tone to it. He would like hold like at the outline of everything, but at the same time, he was just like, wow, we could probably stay up here for 7 more days talking about this. But I thought he did great, and it was nice. Like towards the end of it, we got to see him. His
reel from his season. I thought that was hilarious. Yeah, 'cause his season was like in 2004. Mm-hmm. So like a lot of the younger women especially like definitely never watched his season. I mean, I never watched his season. But I thought it was weird that Kira shot her shot again at Clayton when he was on the stage, like being all like, yo, if like things don't work out, like, I'm still single. And I was like, Kira, what? What are you doing?
She must know something that
she must know something we don't. I think some of them know some stuff that we don't. Teddy made it seem like she knew more, and she's like, I just hope you're okay. And I'm like, what do you know? And why are you like?
And so did Sierra. Like, I hate that. Like, we know what's going on here. So like, how could you do that? Like, yeah, it's like, man, shut up. But that's pretty much what we got. Like, was there anything else that came out of like the Women Tell All that we need to do before we go into Fantasy Suites? Because not a lot happened in Fantasy Suites.
Not really. I mean, I feel like Women Tell All was, it was Women Tell All. It just was trying to get our like blood pumping for Fantasy Suites and then the finale.
Yeah, I guess like Women Tell All is meant to bring like drama towards the end of the season where there might not be that much drama.
Not as much like interconnected drama because, there's less people. So it's like, they're like, let's remember all these different characters kind of deal.
Exactly. So let's get into Fantasy Suites, right?
Yes. So they are in Iceland.
We're going to give the double boing for this one.
Yeah, because it's accurate. But they're in Iceland. You know, we set the scene. We see all these beautiful parts of Iceland. Oh my God! And then we come to a silent room of the three remaining girls: Gabby, Rachel, Susie. Because it is awkward. They have to sit there and be like, "Yep, so And they're like, it's funny because they're like, I know it's weird, but it is actually really nice to see you guys. Like,
yeah, I wonder how long they're in the room silent before they start like having that conversation.
I don't know, but it's just like, it's awkward. They get the first date card.
I want to say this like already, like I didn't, you guys knew I didn't really like Susie, but like in this episode, like I didn't really like her even more.
Wow, that is a hot take, because that is not the take that literally anybody else is taking.
I don't care about Susie. Like I didn't care about her from the beginning.
Susie.
I don't really. If I flip flop, it's for like good reasons. Like, you know, because
I've never hated Susie.
I'll get into why. Like I'm not a fan of like pretty much, you know, anyone at this point. But yes, for specifically Susie. But also Clayton and this. But you know, I wanted to start by saying like Susie does herself no favors by talking about how much she's in her head. Like I know that they're probing her to talk about how she's feeling, but this is always what happens. The one that's freaking out the most will go last.
Well, yeah, they definitely purposely put her last.
And now wouldn't it be like rule of thumb to like pick the one that you like the most first?
I mean, I don't know.
Because like if you have sex with them, it's like you didn't have sex with them after somebody else, right?
I guess, yeah.
Yeah, but I mean, it still sucks to have.
I guess I don't know. I
someone
don't know
have
if
sex
you
with you
the
after.
one that you like the most first or not, or if you'd put someone that you maybe don't know if you like as much before them because you want to see that connection more.
Well, Clayton seems confused as hell. You know, he starts off his like dates with Rachel, and they talk about how deep their love is. Oh, they're gonna get deep, but not there yet, people. Let's not get there yet. We have to go high first in this helicopter. Third one of the season, it says here.
Yes, it was the third one
How's
of
she
the
supposed
season.
to get excited about that? How's she supposed to get?
And she's a pilot, so she's like,
Oh
bitch, whatever.
my God.
This is what I do.
Wow. So yeah, boring. They're kissing so much they're missing the views because she don't care about it. She sees this type of stuff all the time, probably. And they go into a volcano, and they
Which
just
I thought was pretty dope.
Yeah, that was dope. I would be freaking scared. Like that's probably as much as like heights is my like being stuck in like a tunnel or some type of cave or something. That's the worst. That's the worst. You ever see those movies, like those cave movies where people like have to like get through these little tunnels and like...
Yeah, I don't like small...
Oh
like I
my
get
God.
kind of claustrophobic if it's like super small around me.
That's like a mixture of like my vertigo of like fear of heights and being claustrophobic. It's the worst. But so yeah, you know, they do that. Then they go into, you know, I guess this is the theme of Clayton for all three dates is that he feels like he's in love with them, that he hasn't been opening up, and he finally feels like he's ready to open up with each of them right before he has sex with them.
Yeah, and he says honestly, because like even in Gabby's date, you know, she does dune buggies, whatever. They end the same way. They're at the dinner. They're both like talking. Like on Rachel's date, she was definitely trying to probe Clayton more because she's been like very much so outwardly like, I'm into you. And she's like, I feel like I haven't been getting the same from him as much. And so she's like probing him the entire date, being on like, oh, blah, 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 whatever. And, you know, at the dinner, he does kind of try to like fake her out, being all like, there's something I've been holding back. And she's like, oh, fuck, what are you going to say?
I mean,
and
I thought
then
it had
he's
to
like,
do
I'm
with
falling
her
in love
family.
with you.
Yeah, no. So, I mean, she's of course head over heels. You know, they end up having sex that we know in the future because he just keeps saying it. But they have sex. They wake up the next morning. She screams like, "I love you," or something like that. And he's like, "I'm falling in love with you," or "I love you."
No, he's like, "I love you too, Rachel, and I'm gonna miss you." Which I'm like, wow, that's a bold statement. That's a bold statement to scream back at someone knowing full well you're about to go on another date.
Yeah, this is the weird part. Like, I don't think they figured out this ending part yet, and it's actually getting worse as seasons go by. Like, I don't think you're gonna see. I don't know. It's just really hard. So, anyways, she gets back, and Rachel, like, you know, at least like they're like, "Do you want to talk about it?" And she's just like, "We went in a volcano, and she's obviously like happy and looks like she has.
Yeah, every time they come back, they all like the girls who come back are like, "Oh, your outfit's cute." Like they like that's like what they do to like break the tension. Being like, "Oh, girls, you look great." Like as she like comes like walking in her little like UGG boots, being all like, "Yeah, I just
Yeah, walk of shame. So yeah,
Stride
and
of
then,
pride.
I mean, I don't know how they were picking these, but like Gabby knew she had to get ready for hers. I knew Susie was going to be third, like whether or not they told us that, just because of the way she
because
was
they
talking.
were hyping up like in between each dates. They're like hyping up her conversations with Gabby, being all like, like physical parts are really important to me. Like if he really thinks it's me, I would hope that he would, save that for me then.
So what do you think about this thinking? Like, all right, let's get in. Let's get. So Scabby's went fine. They had sex. Like they literally, and he
he says the exact same things to her. He says that he's like, I'm falling in love with you, and it feels so good. Whatever. Like he does literally the exact same thing.
And he was gonna go into the third date doing the exact same thing until those meddling kids got in the way,
which is shitty.
Yeah,
is shitty on his part.
Yeah, no. I mean, I really thought that and Susie was in her head, and it was a little awkward at first. She looks good in a bikini, though. I'll tell you that. But I was like, damn, I didn't know that was all under there. But yeah, I mean, she literally is like they're going from hot to cold in their date and stuff, and like,
which is like the producers really, they're all like, how can we like play this out? They're all like, we're gonna do hot and cold, we're gonna do like whatever. Like honestly, she was like in one part of it, she was like swimming and he was like holding on to her. Like I was like, what kind of date is this for Susie? Susie is like getting waterboarded on this fucking date. Like this is
oh my
awful.
God,
fatality.
So yeah, I mean, she eventually warms up to him, no pun intended, but and she's like enjoyed the day, I guess. And they get to dinner and they're talking and he's doing his spiel,
and
like
he
the
does
same
the
speech.
Same spiel. Mm-hmm. I mean, like, I know I haven't really, but like, cause she had opened up, like, she had told him weeks ago how she was falling in love with him, and like he knew, like his little like confessionals, he knew that she had been in love, and he's like, I'm there, I'm feeling it. Like he was like really like into it, like he's been into it with Susie for a while, but he's like, I'm gonna like let her know now. And so he does exactly like he did with the other two girls. And she's all like happy about that. But then she's like, all right, but I got to know, like, do you feel the same way for anybody else here? And I like, have you slept with anybody else?
All right.
here?
So like, before we get into that, like, what is this fair?
I think it's fair.
In real life.
I mean, I think it's fair. I think, obviously.
I think it's unfair to do it. Like, this is almost like it's entrapment.
I don't think what she's doing is unfair. I think she's being approached with more information about how these feelings are hitting her in this very absurd situation. And yes, you do know on this show that you're going on that there's the potential, like, that you're competing against other people for somebody's love. But I don't think that it's unfair of her to, have her own boundaries, to be all like, this is what, if you feel a certain way about me, this is like the line that I just don't want to be crossed, because I would want you to, want me for this and that. And I think she handled it, honestly, as well as she could. I don't think how he handled it was good at all, because he didn't want to take any blame.
Well, this is a thing. This is why I hate both of them in this episode. Like, there's no like anyone was like right here, because one thing, he's acting like he's not like on a show, and then she's acting like she's not on a show. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like.
Yeah.
I'm trying to like wrap my head around this, actually, because, she's going into it being like, why'd you do that? Like, it's like, are you serious? Dude, you've seen every season of this. Like, that this is what goes down. This is a trap. This is entrapment. Bachelor entrapment.
I don't think it was entrapment. I think
it's a test. It's a test.
I think she was definitely trying to convince herself that maybe she like even says in her different things, she's all like, I can't assume that he is doing whatever, but I can't assume that he's not. And I think she's not trying to trap him, but like she this is her boundary. She's literally saying, you know what? Like, this is how much this means to me. And I can't go off. And like, she was like, all right, then I will go home. I'm upset. I still have strong feelings. And where I have an issue with him is that he's all like, well, if I would have known, I would have changed how I did everything, which I don't believe that for a second. Do you really think that he would have been like, no, of course he wouldn't have. Like, he would have then had to do like
I think what he was thinking about was like Serene. Like, you know what I'm saying? It was like, well, I would have sent your ass home. I wouldn't have even brought you to fucking hometowns if this was like a rule for you. Like, or like you didn't give me the option. You got all the way down to the end to like test me. It was a test. It's a test that you're going to fail if no one tells you that there's a test. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it just is. Like, if you're one of the good guys, I guess, that just doesn't have sex with any of them, but like at this point, like, this is why I'm upset with Susie, is because I really think in the frame of this show, this is what has to happen. If you're going to like propose to someone and you've already gone down this far in this like rabbit hole, you have to have sex. Like, you don't have to, but like having sex with someone or seeing how you physically, you know, are compatible, that could really change the game. You're going to pick someone, then have sex with them, and then be like break up afterwards. Like, that's where I come in, thinking that, like, you know, Clayton, this is what Clayton signed up for, not to like have sex with everybody and stuff like that. But I also think that this is what Susie signed up for. Like, I
think she doesn't sign up for like him. I think she signed up for the fact knowing that she would be competing. But I think, you know, I think she was met with new information about how she was feeling and how, like, you know, everything was going. And also, I think she had every right to ask him. Like, I think she has every right to be upset that he is actively telling all the other girls the same thing that he's telling her. And she's like, well, then because of that, I don't feel comfortable continuing this in this fashion with you. And the way he reacted by saying that invalidated everything that they had, that he didn't know who she was, and that he threw a whole fucking fit was disgusting. That
I agree. And I didn't like seeing her, like, this is where I had a little like pity for her, was like, you know, her like apologizing for
she shouldn't have been apologizing at all for him and his behavior.
And I will agree with that. But to be honest, like, it's like, dude, you're not like, you don't got this tough like skin for this show. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, why doesn't Gabby or Rachel care? Like, what makes you so special? Like, you know what I'm saying?
I mean, they're gonna care. They're both gonna care when it gets to the roast. That's the thing.
I mean, the thing is, though, it's like, you could, at least he's telling him before, like, he's doing this for us, like, to be honest, the audience, for us to be able to see this drama. He could just wait till afterwards and be like, hey, I want to let you know that I was intimate, but like, it just like, wasn't feeling it with her. When I did it with you, it was like way different. Like, he could have done this afterwards, like, you know what I'm saying?
He could have, but then
I think the thing with Susie,
it wouldn't have been truthful.
Well, I think whatever, he could have survived, like, probably just like the public scrutiny side of it, you know what I'm saying? Or at least like let it be behind more closed doors. But you know, I think maybe he got a little scared that Susie was gonna go back or something and tell the other girls. He seems
like he was gonna be all in on Susie if she, you know. But it's like, for me, it painted him as like he wanted to really have his cake and eat it too, because he wanted to be able to get away with saying the same exact thing and doing the same exact thing with all three of them, and then still potentially pick Susie. And she was all like, well, I don't want you to do that.
I don't think he was going to pick Susie. I just think his like ego wouldn't allow him to be like broken up with on his own show. Like, you know,
I know. And he pulled the whole faith card. He's all like, my faith says, and I'm like, bitch, get out of here with that one. Like,
both of them just didn't have real grounds to stand on when it came to me. I'm like, you're stupid for talking like this. You're stupid for talking like this. Like, you know, I get what they're both coming from. That's the thing. But like, it almost seems like Clayton is so absorbed in being the Bachelor that this is the way he's like, well, you signed up for this. She's so absorbed like being like Susie in real life that it's like, dude, Susie, you signed up for this. Like, you know, you knew what you were going to do. Like, did you sign up for the Bachelor knowing that if he had sex with anybody on the show that you were going to leave? You're going to be one of the bachelorettes that leaves him. And you were like Serena P did or whatever like that. Not like she did it because of sex or anything. She straight up just was not feeling Matt James. So, but Yeah, I just feel like I don't know, like I really hope they don't make Susie the Bachelorette. That's all I'm saying.
They might. I mean, I could see it because she has a very similar arc to like as Hannah did. And I mean, otherwise, like, who would you want to be the Bachelorette if not Susie?
Serene.
Yeah, Serene could be a good one.
Yeah, I mean,
Except they keep, chewing out these.
Gabby could be fun, but I just don't know if I could watch her like.
I could
for a whole
not.
season.
I couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because they made Hannah Brown supposed to be like the quirky one, and she wasn't even quirky. And then Gabby is like overly performative quirky. No, I can't. I can't do it. I couldn't do it.
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly, what do you think the surprise is though for next week? Like,
it's a live finale. So like we're going to get like in studio, like that's like probably how we're going to get like the finale in that sense. I'm guessing like he doesn't propose. I'm guessing that's the surprise. That's like all I can think of.
Do you think like all the girls like are just gonna not want to be a part of it? Like,
I kind of feel like
how
he
can they
might
even
try to
be
go
romantic?
back to somebody. Like it gives me either like Colton vibes with like going back to Susie, like Cassie, he did with Cassie, LOL. And or like maybe even somebody who isn't them. Like, like, I don't know. So what Teddy said felt very like ominous. I'm like, Teddy, what do you know? Like,
my theory would be that and I swear, like, I've really tried my hardest to not do spoilers and stuff.
Spoilers.
So if you guys are watching this right now, we don't, like, if anything, like, if I haven't watched it in 2 days, I'm not looking on Instagram for, like, all the social things that I've been seeing. I scroll right past them. I don't like even knowing what happens, in the next episode. So I think what happens is that, like, which is really jacked up for Colton to do, is to have sex with the first two, and say I love you to all three. Then he sends Susie home, then probably confront the girls about having sex and falling in love with all three of them, then probably liking Susie so much that he tells the other two girls after having sex with them maybe that, and then he goes back to Susie, and then maybe Susie's all like, nah, I'm still good, and then he just like left with nobody.
Which, I'm just interested to see his parents' reaction because like his dad is like definitely, I'm team his dad right now because his dad is all like, you are looking for blame in other places. All you can do is blame yourself. And that's the truth.
Right. I mean, that's the funny part about watching him right now is like him try to make sense of like something. It's like, dude, you can try to talk circles around being a bachelor and all the things you had to do. But like, at the end of the day, these moves don't make you a stand-up man. Like, like it just doesn't.
It really doesn't. And I think he's really trying to pretend that he is a better guy than he is in this situation. It's like, I get falling in love with multiple people. I think that is possible. I think I think you can love multiple people for different reasons. I think the issue I have with how he carried it out is that he told them the same exact shit. I'm like, so then you can't, no one feels any pity for you because you're telling each of these girls that they're special and that you miss them and you whatever, but doing the same thing. Like my thing, that feels like a player then at that point, like who I would be upset too. Like I would be upset too.
Yeah, totally. I mean, I really do wonder how it's going to end because they really say it's going to be the most dramatic ending. I know they say that every
Surprising, shocking. Like, I want to know what Jesse's coming back to say that happens. Like, is Susie coming back? Is Serene magically in Iceland? I don't think so.
No, Serene wouldn't pop up. She wouldn't be on Women Tell All.
I don't think so. I don't think they could have had anybody of those girls that was at Women Tell All if they ended up, coming back.
I mean, really in this episode, all those women seem so far in the past now, even just from last episode, like in a hometown, like, Teddy, Serene. So, I definitely think Clayton gaslit Susie a little bit.
Oh, for sure.
Maybe a lot of bit. It's just interesting seeing, like, I think what he got most mad about, like, this is why we talk about the show, right? We kind of like analyze and therapize these things, like for no reason. But I think what he was really mad about was the fact that like Susie was painting him out to look like some type of villain. Like,
I think he
unintentionally, being
I think he was just most mad about that. He actually got questioned. I think.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. I
think he, really thought that he's like, well, I'm going to be able to literally copy and paste these evenings and get away with it. And I think the fact that she tried to convey
essentially
her own,
what she was doing was also ruining the other two at the same time. He just couldn't handle all of it. He couldn't even.
He hates conflict. He can't do it.
He couldn't handle
it.
And
the fact that she was expressing, I think my issue, I think his issue was with Rachel and Gabby. It was pretty cut and dry. They had already expressed their main feelings for him. So pretty much it was just, he just had to be and I'm falling in love with you too. And then takes him to bed. And I think the issue he had with Susie is that Susie actually then came back and was expressing her own emotions and feelings. And he's all wait a second. No, you can't do that. I'm not going to let you do that. And then that's, I think, where he ran into issues, because then that's where he became his own villain by, saying that he didn't know who she was, that she invalidated everything, and that whatever. And all while stomping away. While she's all okay, well, I'm really upset. And even in the car on the way out, she was all I just thought he would have shown more compassion. And I was
yeah, it was really weird to see him saying that she threw away all this stuff, but it really looked like he just kind of was throwing it all away. It was weird to see. So, going into next week, we're definitely going to have a lot of drama. It's a 2-night,
another 4-hour week.
Another 4 hours. Did anything come out of Bachelor Nation this week that we need to talk about? Anything pressing?
Nothing crazy. I just thought maybe we could all talk about it at a different time, but Matt James did a little sort of viral TikTok reel, whatever, where he was asking men and women what they think the ideal age for men and or women to get married at. And it was just interesting to hear how all of them said men should be a little bit older and that women should be a little bit younger. And then Tammy from Peter's season has been out on her Instagram stories and whatever. Pretty much
she was on
saying
Bachelor in Paradise too. She was with Aaron and all that stuff. Which, speaking of Aaron, apparently was hooking up with Genevieve at a bar.
But they have denied it. And I'm I don't know. I mean, whatever. Who cares? But
Shanae does.
But Tammy pretty much said she's this franchise picks favorites. If you're not one of the favorites, you get treated like shit. She's I can't wait for my contract to be up. I've got better things on the horizon. I'm I'm ready for the tea once that contract ends, because
I'm pretty sure it's probably they're going and asking people to be on Bachelor in Paradise, and she probably wants to go again, and they're not even looking at her.
I don't know if it has anything to do with also just racially. She made some comments about how how it's so behind the times and stuff like that, and I think racially we know it is.
Well, we know that, but I've been hurt in the past about things, and sometimes you jump to that when you're just angry. I'm not saying that's not that we already know that's a problem with the franchise, but to me it could be she just we don't know what it's like in Bachelor Nation when there's popular people and the new people and the old people. She's just probably getting through the ringer, and more sensitive to it than most people are, and coming out about it. She probably wasn't picked for Bachelor in Paradise, so she's just over it. But she'll probably have some more tea about it later on. So I'm looking forward to that. If you guys know how this ends, or you're predicting how it ends, or you know what tea Tammy has, write it down in the comments below. Make sure you're subscribing, liking this video helps us out a lot. And yeah, next week we got the season finale of The Bachelor, Monday and Tuesday nights. So yeah, stick with us. We're gonna be getting into all the stuff that we don't know today. So.
Future Bachelor Podcast.